Oh, so very much for joining us yet again. Today we're going to be recapping season 5, episode 3s of Star Trek Discovery's Jinaal. In this particular episode, the Discovery crew travels to Trill to get the second clue, where Dr. Colbert takes center stage as Jinaal. Adira and Gray define their relationship. Commander Rayner has a bumpy start at connecting with his crewmates. And Saru and President Serena learn more about each other in a rather delicate situation. Guys, how was the episode?
Yeah.
It was great. It was great. And how about we explore thoughts on that after the beautiful bean footage?
I don't know if we've ever had that before.
Every other vote.
I mean, I just want to know what we're going to be ready. Oh, wait, we're going live.
Here we are. Welcome once again to Trekkers Delight.
Like, literally, my mic falls down just as we go live. Hi, everybody!
Why is that person not even moving behind you?
That's what you're paying attention to?
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh my god, no.
Love that baseball and the teacup. Like, clearly, TNG DS9 fans.
This was a nice touch.
The most.
The most.
No, everybody, this is actually one of the main screenwriters for Prodigy, so we are super excited to hear from you. And
No one
also,
listened.
I'm a little embarrassed for being this critical.
Man, I really love that intro.
William,
never-
you seem to be real psyched right now.
Yes, because he slides that self-serving notification in at the end of every every moment of the beautiful bean footage. I am never not going to mock you for that, by the way.
Speaking of self-service, William, can you quickly recap today's episode?
Man. Okay, so like, here's what happened. And it's
So
if you want to,
they were there, and there was a starship. Okay,
that's what it is. He really said that in the line about himself, like, "Oh, cool, this ship. Oh, wow, that's Discovery. That's cool." Like he was really saying about, "Oh, wow, this guy really works out." I was like, ah!
But how about you tell us what happened before we get to that moment?
Okay. So, like, basically, here's what happened. They already found the first piece in the second episode, so now we're on episode 3. Okay, in this particular episode, Discovery has to go to Trill, and I don't remember, unless it was a Deep Space Nine episode, have we ever set foot on Trill before?
Well, yeah.
Okay, well, in the caves and stuff, but like, yeah. All right, so they get in there, and hang on a second.
Yeah, Discovery's taken us to Trill before.
Right. So yeah, we've been to Trill before. We get to see Gray again, which is really, really great, because I was really upset that they were like leaving that as an open-ended story. And they needed to go to Trill to find the next piece of the puzzle to lead into the next piece and the next piece and the next piece. Well, this particular piece was leading to a person. Can someone remind me of that person's name?
Jinaal.
Jinaal. All right. JJ. Got it. So they looking for JJ. Or J squared, because like this brother's like 800 years old, right? All right, cool. Well, this 800-year-old symbiont slug is in this very tired lady that really wants to rest, that she said about 3 times throughout the episode. Well, apparently he wanted to speak to Burnham directly, but that wasn't before they had to solve a riddle before beaming down. Dude didn't even know that was asking the question what the riddle was about. He just said, I just needed to know it was Beta Z. I believe the question was, where does the fourth point?
Yeah.
In this case, it was. Wait a second. Oh snap! This is it. Well, they do a Jantara, which was the first and last time we saw this was in D Space Nine. This is so cool because the good doctor here, I want to call him the good doctor, the fine doctor too.
Dr. Culber.
Dr. Culber said, you know what? I can handle emotions. I've been dealing the ships for the last 5 years. Like, what's a few hours of this? Well, he was in for his money on this one, and therefore they merged. And it was a nice joining. It wasn't as hectic as what we've seen with Dax and maybe a few others.
What can I say? I just only because you brought it up, and he did a fine job of changing his whole character.
Yeah,
fine job. Like it was like I almost like jumped. I was like, whoa,
You
this is
very
a
much
different
knew
person.
that you were talking to Jinaal and not Hugh Culber, right? I mean, Wilson Cruz used his voice, he used his body, like it was just a beautiful done segment.
Even the moment he looked at Book, like, who are you?
I mean, raise your hand if you wouldn't have.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Unaffiliated associate.
Right.
I'm going to the special hell. It's fine.
Okay, Will, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're good. You're good. And so,
he's raising his hand.
right. Hey, Manny. And Book convinces Burnham, hey, let me go with you. I'm still going on this journey. I'm still learning from my past mistakes, blase, blase. And they all join in on this journey. Okay. So they meet up with JJ. Okay. And JJ says, hey, I know the spot and I'm going to take you to it. He tries to take him to it and says that it's under this big rock, which is kind of interesting because I live in Little Rock. So I felt right at home. Anyway, that being said, apparently he was taking them to a whole obstacle of giant cloaking cockroaches.
Murder cockroaches.
Cockroaches?
Look more like
Yo,
flies.
did it remind anybody of like the ice monster in 2009? Because it kind of did a little visually.
I thought they were mosquitoes. Giant mosquitoes.
Some sort of bug thing. Well, it was a nest. So they were actually there protecting their young, of course. Book and Burnham didn't know that at the time until much later on, but that's the test. How are you going to treat these entities? Are you going to shoot them down? Are you going to kill them? Are you going to run away from them? Or are you going to try and connect with them and make peace with them the best you can? In which they did, because it's Star Trek. So once JJ saw that, he said, okay, you pass. And he hands him the next piece of the puzzle. And then he goes off and takes a good nap.
Okay. And the storyline with Adira and Gray.
Oh, yes. So I think this is more so closure with that because they didn't really imply that we're going to see Gray again or hear from him. It is him, right?
Yeah.
Them, right?
No, Adira is the they, them, and Gray is male.
Got it. Cool. They officially broke up.
There's a lot of that going on this season.
Yeah. They broke up. Apparently, there was about 6 months of hollow chats, which I guess that's the thing where you can like see the other person, a holographic version of the communication. That's how they do it in the 32nd century. Really, they do that throughout Star Trek, but we're not going to talk about that. So 6 months of that, and I forgot what's that woman's name that caught onto it. Like, dude, like they're walking into a trap, not a trap, but like into a heartbroken hotel.
I always want to say Janet Reno.
Jet Reno.
Jet
Reno.
Right.
Janet Reno was an attorney.
Yes.
They look so much alike.
And they
Tignataro.
introduced the idea of, well, there are many other different kinds of relationships. Like, he didn't say it, but like polyamorous or open or stuff like that. And Adira wasn't going, which I appreciate that, by the way, because not everyone wants a polyamorous or open relationship. If that's you, that's your body, your choice, your booty. But as far as this goes here, like, no.
I mean, I would be open.
Yeah, I know you would, Jermaine. But good Lord. But Adira was like, nah, I'm good. Thanks, though. And then they officially broke up. So.
And Commander Rayner?
Right. Okay. The new first officer who took a whole stank attitude with the crew, but at the same time, really did a good job at getting a personal analysis of everyone that he met. But he made it clear, I'm not defending him, but he made it clear saying, hey, when I captain my ship, my crew already knows what to expect and what's what. Well, Teela was like, in case you haven't noticed, you got demoted. And you're on a ship full of misfits. Therefore,
Tilly is having none of it.
Who are you talking to? And she said, matter of fact, I don't care if you give me permission to speak or not. I'm going to give you 20 words. And she almost gave 21. That's some good writing right there.
You know, I was like, which word was that 21st word? That's
imagination. So if anyone can answer this question for me, because I cannot tell by his ears, what species is he?
Kelleran.
Yes. From Deep Space Nine, they were the species from the Harvester.
Okay. I'm going to have to refresh on that one.
He's just like, I don't know what you're talking about, Marie. Fair.
I'm just really going to have to refresh on that one. But okay. I appreciate his sternness, but Tilly's right. Chill out.
Right. And finally, William, I know this is, I'm assuming this is a storyline that Marie loves. The storyline between Saru and President Tarina.
You are not wrong. She is relationship goals.
So relationship goals, and we see that they have what could be interpreted as their on-screen first conflict. I'm gonna say on-screen because there's no way we can know about what happened between seasons. Basically, they decide to go ahead and get engaged, and they're about to make the major announcement. And there's an edit that needs to be made. It's not a big deal. That's not the focal point of the conflict. Well, Tarina's assistant, what's his name?
Douchebag.
Yeah, yeah, Detective Douche.
Detective Douche.
I'm serious. Okay, he's being nosy and other people's businesses, and literally said, "Well, you know how politics is. We have to keep up a certain image." And Tarina's like, "Shut up!" But Saru doesn't really know how to go about it, right? So he's like, okay, I guess I'll listen this time because, you know, this is like the president and this is a whole nother thing. And I had gave up my career low key for this. So
okay, no. Okay, I'm going to fix you now because this is good. Because what Assistant D-Bag is doing is he is telling Tarina telling Saru, because he's already had this fight with Tarina, that them getting engaged is bad because Saru is very obviously not Vulcan. And we're concerned about the Vulcan purists. And what he's saying is you're going to ruin Tarina's career because you're not Vulcan, because you're going to piss off the Vulcan purists. And Saru, rather than going to his partner and saying, hey, Assistant D-Bag told me this, what do you think? Saru takes it upon himself to go and tell her to delay announcing their engagement because he's worried for her. And she is having none of it.
That moment she put the tea down.
Yeah, no, she's like, no. And neither you, nor my assistant, nor anybody else knows my needs and wants better than I do. And also, BT dubs, I'd already thought about that. And I didn't want to lie to my constituents. And I'm also not ashamed of what we're doing because there's nothing to be ashamed of. So you can sit and stew, boo-boo. I've got work to do. Beautifully done.
I really love the point that she brought up, saying like, hey, imagine if we didn't say anything at all. Then it would seem like I'm hiding something. Now the people that I'm supposed to represent are not going to trust me. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to look at that from a political perspective, but the first thing she brought up was, this is my choice. And no one knows my personal needs better than I. What Detective Douche was supposed to do was look after my personal needs. This is my personal needs. I'm getting married, not him.
Not a damsel, not in distress, bitches.
Speaking of that particular storyline, and William, you brought it up. It was, I was like, I don't know what to think about this. It was the moment he brought up what was in the announcement, and it basically said that he was handsome and erudite, and I wondered if Saru had assimilated so much that he could not see himself. I don't know what his race would consider, handsome or beautiful or whatnot. And I'm assuming that he was stuck on the handsome part. It could have been the erudite part. Who knows?
Or both.
Or both.
I'm thinking
Because
both.
it does, yeah, because it sounds very. Oh, I'm sorry, Keith. You go.
No,
I've talked enough.
No, go ahead, Ray.
Because I feel like I think he was just a little embarrassed, to be honest, because it's a little crazy to have that level of effusive praise going out in an official diplomatic document.
Agreed.
And Tarina shuts that stuff. I'm trying to be good. Shuts that stuff down beautifully. She is like, both are true, and then just kind of keeps on going about her business. But if that embarrasses you, if you are uncomfortable with that, then we will make that edit.
Also, real quick, shout out to Saru for introducing me to at least 3 new words this episode, because I love the way he just like uses words like big words that I never heard of. It made me feel so smart.
All right, Keith, I've talked over you. I am sorry.
No, it's okay. He definitely has that sense of humility, and I mean, I definitely think back of what we've seen of Saru over the past 5 years. Like he earned the captaincy of Discovery, yet he still wanted to have a conversation with Burnham when they got to the 31st century or 32nd century to figure out who the captain should be. He's always been willing to see things from other people's perspective, but also his ego is so small. I mean, he does not have a big ego. He's like the opposite of Picard.
Question:
The sheer fucking
is it humility, modesty, or is it a lack of self-confidence?
I don't think
Or
it's a lack of
something else.
self-confidence. I
It's not a
really
lack of
don't,
self-confidence.
because Saru is more than willing to step in and be like, "No, I know what to do. Sit down."
Oh, just remember.
I'm sorry, my brain
Okay.
just whited out. What?
Okay,
Where
I
are you
see
finding,
you.
Where
I
are
see
you finding
you.
these?
Well, just remember when he first was put as captain of a Discovery back in season 1 under Lorca, he set up an algorithm in the computer to judge how he was doing, comparing himself to Giorgio, Pike, Archer, and April, and all these others. And then he was because he didn't have the self-confidence, but by the end of the mission, he was confident enough that he deleted the report without reading it.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on, when he was in command, he was in command. And right up until even when he took a step back last season and let Burnham take the wheel.
Right.
But, yeah, it's definitely humility, modesty in there.
Okay, all right. Shifting gears just a little bit. I love and again, Will, you brought it up. Tilly said ship cohesion is a top priority as well. And in that particular moment, I guess what I was thinking is this man is still in that frame of mind where he's the captain, or is this just part of his personality?
I think it's part of his personality. I really do, because and I think it's part of his personality, and I also think it's part of his leadership style. Because one of the comments he makes to Tilly in the bar is that he saw as being necessary a certain level of distance. And Tilly's point is yeah, but also that didn't really work for you, as it happens. Which fits in rather nicely with what I think is being set up as the primary types of thematic underpinnings that we're going to see for the rest of the season, which is the importance of connection, and the importance of connection in figuring out where you fit in this community that we spent all of last season building.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
mm-hmm.
Rayner has been part of this older community that was fractured and somewhat fractious. And now he's coming into this new understanding of the Federation, new/old, because it's very much more in line with what, this, like the folks in Discovery brought with them, right? And so now he's got to figure out where he fits there. And part of figuring out how to do that and how to community build is to, I don't know, build community.
Manny, your thoughts, and then after that, Keith.
About Captain Raynor?
Yes.
So, I mean, I've been a second in command. I understand, and you look at Riker and you look at even Saru, the job of the number one, even Una, right? I've recently watched all the SNWs. Is they do the job part. They do the actual, like Riker was definitely more hands-on. He had a huge ship, so he did a different staff, but they are also in charge of the interpersonal stuff, the department head stuff. They are supposed to, make sure that everyone does their job and makes it easy for the captain.
Yo.
Hey, Jason.
Hey.
What's up,
I got
man?
you on the cell phone right now because I got to run out.
That's all right. That's all right.
Stop. What's going on? We talking about Star Trek today?
As always. So, Manny, you were saying?
I think that Captain Raynor had to do what he did for the plot's sake. Like, he has to come in. Like, he's been called commander now. He's been demoted from captain to commander and still given a responsibility on a totally different ship with a set crew. He's the alien. He's the the outsider, the guy who's trying, and he doesn't want to fit in. He's just been given a role. It's very Jellicoe. It's very, it has that sort of outside, and he's also no nonsense, which I like. I like that no nonsense stuff.
No nonsense.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that it was really good, but we didn't get to see the other side of what it was basically just lip service at the end. But the reason that Burnham picked him was intimated earlier, which is that he will stick to his views even when they're in opposition, which is what she needs. She needs a strong personality across from him. She needs a Saru. She needs someone that is the point of the first officer in private, to oppose you, to set up the debate or the argument. Always fill your Congress with detractors so you have a much stronger argument. It's the same logic why you have a first officer who pushes back on you in the ready room. Number one, ready room. Go ahead. That's it for me.
Keith?
Yeah, he definitely does set himself up as sort of different from what we expect. He's definitely not going to be. We knew he wasn't going to be like Saru. We knew he was going to be this odd piece trying to fit into the Discovery crew. And even though we found out in this episode that several members of the Discovery crew are no longer on Discovery, we still see him trying to fit in, but also doing it in his own way. Tilly, who isn't on the crew, she must be missing her classes at the academy. It's walking him through this and what you'd expect him to do, but no, he already knows everything he needs to know about the officers on this ship, even the ones that didn't seem to want to show up today. But so it's kind of like, I know everything I need to know about you from what I've read in your file. I shouldn't need to get to know you as a person, but I got to remember, for this crew, they've been, they went through life and death together, jumping 900 years into the future. They have gone through a lot. He should understand that. And maybe he doesn't. Maybe they had done a job of trying to hide the fact that they jumped from the past.
They tried to embrace him.
Yeah, right. But it's like the secret nobody knows about is that they came from the past in violation of the temporal cords. So, and they even renumbered the ship to try to hide the fact that it was, the Discovery from 2200 stuff.
William, your thoughts about Captain Raynor? Oh, can't hear you.
You can't?
Oh, hear you now.
Oh, we can.
You can?
We hear you now.
Yes.
Barely.
Okay. So, to me, it's like full circle from season 1. Like what happened to Burnham in the very beginning. Because and we've debated about this here on Truckers Delight, whether her actions were just or unjust. What happened happened, and the same could be said for Captain, now Commander Rayner. So I think it comes full circle. I don't look at it as like a reality check. I look at it as like another chance, because this era, yeah, Discovery is from a totally different era, like Kirk era, like Janeway even said, hey, back then they did things a whole different way. I think in conjunction with Rayner's personality, I think post burn, I think that's everyone in Starfleet now. Like they feel like they have to do everything a very certain way, like that they cannot let up on, right? Especially now that we know. I'm sure if there was another season, we would see what the Breen would do. But now the Breen are starting to uprise again. I'm going like 100 years later, y'all still, dang.
I mean, they are called the hegemony.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is that. So
it's kind of in the title.
So that was the Gorn hegemony.
Oh, that's right. They're the Breen Imperium.
Well, they were the Breen Confederacy back in the 2400s. Now they're the Breen Imperium.
Valid.
And I think the best way to describe the commander is like he's like an offshoot of Jellicoe. So like I look forward to seeing how much he grows, because I feel like he will. I don't think he's going to be that character that sacrifices himself at the end of the season to become a good person like Shaw or something like that. No.
Yeah.
It's not like that. Like,
I don't know.
I can see the Shaw thing.
I can see him doing it.
Yeah, I feel very much like we're kind of dealing with a grumpy Shaw.
What's going to happen to him? I think he's going to be around. I do.
Well, he was supposed to move
he might
on,
make
right?
it.
Like, Callum Keith Rennie has actually said that he was supposed, like, if there had been a season 6 of Discovery, that he was actually supposed to be on that season 6.
Ah, okay.
All
right. That's good to know.
I'm very upset that this is the last season.
As you said earlier, Manny, they have really found their stride. The past couple seasons have really been good.
Mm-hmm.
I think they drilled down and they decided these are the themes we want to talk about. These are the kinds of stories we want to tell, and they finally figured it out. And unfortunately, I'm really sorry that we're nipping it right now.
However, Keith sent something, and I was so happy to see it. Discovery is at the top of the boards.
Yeah, hold on, let me get the thing up. The ratings came out for last week. Let's see. T-Vision's Power Score rankings for the top shows streaming on connected TV for the week of April 1st. And number 1 was Star Trek Discovery, right above Palm Royale on Apple TV. So, and you did have 2 episodes, so that kind of helped Houston a little bit there. But that coming back, especially since I went on to IMDb last Thursday and read some of the stupidest reviews you could ever imagine. People putting
that was
1
on
star.
you.
I know. No, a person who literally wrote a review, 1 star. Nice to see Tilly's got a bigger door because she's so fat she needs it.
Oh, okay.
Those
Good to know the internet's still gonna internet.
Yeah.
Some people might like that.
My whole thing with Tilly is I don't like her hair. She looks good, but I'm not a fan. Sorry.
Is it the same? It's the same it's always been, right? It's the same as always been.
I don't like that hair.
When she was a cadet, she actually tried to keep it to military regulations, like what you see for most women.
He likes,
and then they just let it go the past couple of years.
He likes Captain Killy's hair.
Who's Captain Killy?
That's
the Mirror Universe.
I ain't gonna lie, Captain.
Oh no, I like Tilly when she was like trying to become a captain here.
Hey, you guys were
she had like
Jason.
Oh no, you guys were talking about Rayner, and I was dealing with my phone. Yeah, I
jump in there, baby.
I feel like it's exactly what I thought was gonna happen. I didn't feel like that's why I think the last show I was like, what do you guys think of Rayner as, first officer? Because I could see it coming a mile away that he was gonna be like completely insubordinate to, he's going to have his own agenda as his primary function rather than, supporting his captain and his crew, which is his crew now. But of course, he doesn't feel like it's his crew because he just jumped on there. But still, I don't feel like he's going to be, basically, like I said, they're doing exactly what I thought he was going to do. Just completely defiant of the wishes of Michael Burnham and not really giving a shit about the rest of the crew. He's going to turn around in like the last 2 episodes. He's going to like do some awesome shit. He might even die for everybody.
I mean, like I wouldn't say like insubordinate. I would say like emotionally insubordinate.
I would say insubordinate, like doing exactly as much as he can to defy the orders, or as little as he can to act like he complied.
But did
I mean, at the end of the day, he did comply.
Right,
She
as
didn't
little
tell him
as he
how.
can. Yeah, but that's you shouldn't. He shouldn't have to tell. She shouldn't have to tell him how. You should understand what those. As a first officer, you should understand the full content of the wishes that have been bestowed upon you.
Well, no,
Last I checked, Kelleran weren't psychic.
Wait, what?
He's still
Just
running
that
off
out
that
there.
steam,
But well, I do understand what Jason is saying. At some point, he should have been a commander of someone's ship, right? He should have been a first officer, and at least, as far as we know, most first officers are in charge of, keeping up, crew morale and all the other good stuff. And so, going out and meeting them would have been, an expectation.
Right. He has no intention of like getting the crew to like him and all this other stuff and getting to know the crew. He's in there, but he's completely isolated from everything else that is happening.
But that's a choice.
Yeah, that is a choice.
Okay. I wanted to change things up just a little bit. So when they finally get the second clue, basically Jinaal lets them know that this technology that they're about to find, or hopefully going to find, can bring life to humanoids and worlds alike, but it can also destroy both. What are your general thoughts about that? And I definitely wanted to go to William and then Manny.
Okay.
It's a thought, but more so a hope. I hope, because every single time there's this big power and they're always worried it's going to fall into the wrong hands, what do? They destroy it. And literally throughout Star Trek, maybe other sci-fi franchises, blah, 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 I actually want to see what I hope is a good entity now, being the 32nd Century Federation, use this technology for good. Like I want to know that in this chronological order of the 32nd century, that the Federation is going to be okay with it, not make some conscious moral decision. Oh, let's destroy it, and boom, that's the end of season. No, show us how you're going to become a Q. I want to know.
Yeah, because what sucks is we know this is the final season, so they're gonna wrap up this whole thing, but then we're not gonna really see it. Maybe they'll say what they're gonna do with it, but we won't really see more that they're gonna do with it because it's the final season.
Manny?
If you think back to the original episode that they were referencing with the progenitors, that Salome Jens sort of push in or whatever, and so to me, I mean, I would love if there's some sort of Easter egg like this where I really want the progenitors to have been like the ones who became the founders, like so that they're tied together with Salome Jens and that they left behind. Because if you think about how the founders are made, they're like, we were once solids like you one day, right? It's a Salome Jens, it's the same lady who was the progenitor. So
yeah.
I think that and in the end, the device that they left behind, the Romulans thought it was a weapon, and the humans were chasing after for archaeological reasons. And I think the Klingons were there. I can't remember. I haven't seen that episode in a while. But what brought them all together at the end, the thing that actually activated was a message of peace, hopefully in the idea that they could all best together. And I think that's what you're going to get at the end of all of this. I think you're going to get something where they explain more of that origin, and they're all like coming together, like by hook and by crook, and they think it's a weapon, but it's actually like a gotcha, we got you now, right? Like it's like, oh, and it's like just a like birthday party with balloons and streamers. And, hey, look at you all, right? Or no, something that explains. They think it's. I didn't like the way that Paul Stamets got like he was salivating to like make his legacy. He's all about legacy, right? This legacy sort of like push that he wants something bigger and better than what he's actually doing now. He's doing great things, but it's like imagine the legacy that could be left behind with this technology. Like he's just salivating to like reanimate the dead. Did you hear what he said? He's like, you could reanimate people. This bananas.
I did not read that as I didn't read that as necessarily
It's
being,
wild.
like salivating. I think that was like geeking out in the awkward way that only Paul Stamets can be. I feel like that was very much like a throwback to because remember in the first couple of seasons, Stamets was an awkward panda, right? He was kind of like the scientist version of the Rainer dickishness. And we've seen a lot of growing in him. And so I think what he was is he was just geeking out. He's like, this is so cool that they can do this. Right?
No, he really is, because he's totally like, first of all, he's totally into physics, and he's totally into the idea that physics and biology are the same thing on a fundamental level. Right? So I think he's totally geeking out about that and the power that this thing could do.
I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong, right? Like, I'm not saying that there's not like an Ian Malcolm, we thought so hard about if we could, we didn't think about if we should kind of a deal.
100%.
I just don't think his brain has quite followed that all the way through. I think he's right now really, really bogged down in the, oh my God, this is a thing we could do.
Yeah.
Because effectively what we're talking about is we're on the quest for the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, exactly.
And Burnham is Galahad.
Yeah.
In this. And so we're trying to and what's funny is if you actually think about the Grail legend, the point is never that you find the Grail. That's not the goal. The point is to have these experiences and to go on this quest and to refine your spirit to such a point that you can then because you find in medieval literature, finding the Grail is akin to like ascending to heaven, right? That's the kind of imagery that you're dealing with in these texts. So that's what they're doing, right?
So true.
And which is why I think it's really fun that we're kind of doing this Grail hunt as a scavenger hunt.
It's so funny that you bring that up. Sorry, Marie. The Saru also pushed in on that with Burnham about telling her to enjoy the journey, right? So it's very much a parallel with what you're saying. Like, be present.
And it's a really interesting kind of science fiction take on what that would be. And
so true.
and also the Grail, and also finding the Grail is to know God. Right.
And they're actually chasing their creator.
And Burnham is coming, and Burnham actually says to us in this episode, right, that this is as close as we're ever going to get to meeting the people who made us.
Right. I did want to go to
but what if they will act what Manny was saying?
He's got my attention.
Oh, I thought you just said Keith next.
I think you're on a little
Did you
delay.
say Keith next? We'll go to Keith next. Okay,
It's your idea, man.
Well, Keith, I did want to go to you next. Same question, but also I'll kind of segue into the fact that their next stop is going to be into Zengathi space.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, kids. That's actually huge because Zengathi have been mentioned so many times over the years, going back to the animated series, but we never actually have seen them. So this would be
Yeah.
great. Actually going to see the Zenkethi for once. And in fact, the name of next week's episode is Face the Strange.
Huh.
So that'll be interesting. Please remind me, what was the question again?
We're between Galahad and the Zenkethi.
The fact that this technology has the potential to do such great things, but also harmful things.
Well, it's the same thing we had with the Genesis device. Remember,
Yes.
the scientists creating it saw it as creation, while the Klingons saw it as an ultimate weapon. So it's the same thing. And it's all what has the power to create ultimately has the power to destroy just as much. So we had that, and this is just going to keep on happening. We're going to have devices like this, and of course, there had to be things before that the progenitors, impacted. So.
Okay.
I mean, I'm really now intrigued by the things before. Like, I mean, are we talking like primordial ooze before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's not like they, there had to be things on the planets that they influenced in order to spark this life. And
I like the comparison to the Genesis device. I like that a lot. And Lower Decks just did that. I just caught up on that. Oh no,
Yep.
Lower Decks. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Lower Decks.
And so please remind me, on a Genesis device planet, does the planet have to be devoid of life?
Yes.
That was the plan. They were trying to find a planet devoid of life.
No,
because
it
the
doesn't.
problem was
It wouldn't.
if you deployed the Genesis device on a planet that had life, it would destroy that life and rewrite it according to the terraforming model programmed into the device.
Right. So it doesn't have to. That's what I was gonna say. Actually, I was gonna be like, this whole thing is like Genesis Extreme. Like this whole device that they're talking about, to build it on that level. But no, the Genesis device does not. You do not have to have a planet devoid of life, but you will destroy everything that is on it in order for it to.
For the purposes of the scientific experiment, they wanted a planet devoid of life, which you would think would be a lot easier to find, considering the number of planets in the Goldilocks.
Well, no, you also have to have a planet that can support life and is in the right zone and has magnetic fields and is,
like I said, the Goldilocks zone.
I thought it had to be like an L-class planet.
It doesn't, as long as it's okay. I have a question.
Well,
I do not have an answer.
So in order for it to be an M class, it has to be in the Goldilocks zone, but most of these planets are not M class. Therefore, even if you did put in the Genesis device, it still really wouldn't work, right?
It may work, but it's not gonna, it wouldn't be sustainable. You could do a moon, it could,
like Mars, right?
Well,
yeah,
Mars
Mars
is in the Goldilocks zone.
It goes off in Lower Decks. In Lower Decks, it goes off and then becomes like a life factory, right? Like and it's not on a life. Oh, can't remember with regardless. I think we're getting off the rails. I want to come back to Keith's point.
When they did it in the end of Rathacon, they took the nebula was what became the nebula with the genetic material of the Reliant and the people on it, are what became the basis for the Genesis planet.
Because Regula was actually Class D planetoid. It wasn't even.
So
it wasn't even a planet.
Okay. So it overwrites them.
I thought that was a Lower Decks.
I wanted to get a quick segue. Thank you, Ringstein, for the comment. May the force be with you. Thank you for the comment, but this is not Star Wars. This is Star Trek. Love you. Please continue to watch.
I think Manny hit something though. Like, so what if the progenitors would be actually the founders? What if the founders created all humanoids?
And then they forgot.
They grew to hate the thing they created.
I like what Manny said. I think it's kind of like an offshoot. Like, one group stayed in one place, another one went to a whole other place and started to seed the rest of the galaxy.
I mean, we are looking at a season that has had a lot of Deep Space Nine Easter eggs already.
Yes.
Everything from Raynor species the Kelrun to the Jantara. So I mean, it may be a nod to that, and it would be a nice way to kind of give a nod to Salome Jones.
If the
I
theory
like the idea.
they give a hint by mentioning the Dominion War, right?
Yes.
We've also mentioned the Dominion War.
It could.
Well,
It could.
and plus, that answered the question we had last week. Jermaine, you had the question of what the Romulan was doing in Federation space. How did he get to Trill? And now we know he was part of the team. The president.
He was part of a scientific cabal.
Yes. Now, I
Yeah,
want to know, is that
actually.
President Jarrus? What's it?
Jaro, President Jaro.
Yeah, President Jaro from Deep Space Nine. That would be great if it was that one. But yeah, we got a little bit more to the story there. It makes it, kind of fill in the holes there. And now I want to know who else was on that team too.
But also they
Yeah.
like you said, what was the Romulan doing there? Like they do shit that we don't like. There was an episode of Voyager, a Romulan scientific vessel was somewhere it was not supposed to be. It was pre.
Is this the one that's like back in time?
Yeah, it's back in time. So they go out and they do shit.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's a clearer, easier thing to say that he was part of the scientific group, because otherwise, what the hell is he doing on a Federation core world, carving stuff into a wall?
That's awesome when they pushed in on his photo, like from the original episode.
I know.
And they showed you he was the guy in the corner and stuff.
Well, they picked the extra. That wasn't actually named in the episode.
I know.
So good, man. I love stuff like that, Easter egg stuff
So
like
do
that.
I.
I hope they do it with the other part of the other teams, right? So, again, I think that this is all culminating, and I don't mean to cut off anyone who also has the same point, because again, it was a Jack in the Box, right? It was a 2-part episode. This thing, I believe. I can't remember.
No,
was it
one.
The original one with the scientists, right? It brings the chase. Picard's
It's a single episode. Season 6,
episode.
20.
Yep, it was.
Okay. And by the end of it, right, they're all convinced that they know what this weapon / archaeological thing is. And at the end, it's proof that they seeded the cosmos with humanoid life, which again, in meme culture is the reason why there's a Jeffrey,
Jeffrey Combs? Yeah. What I love about the chase is that the point of the chase is that we are all more alike than we are different.
Yes.
And look at us. Look at us on this screen right now.
Yes.
We are all more alike than we are different. And it's the Cardassians and the Romulans have real issues accepting that but it's so in line with Federation values and the values that Star Trek really is about. And that's one of the things I really love about choosing the chase, even though I don't think it was the greatest in terms of execution. Sorry, Keith.
I love
you, man. But I love that as a concept, and I think that that's also kind of why we're looking at all these different choices that are being made with our characters, right? Like, because one of the ideas is that we all want fulfillment, but the question is, what is that going to look like, and what is that going to look like within the context of this greater community that we're building? And one of the things I really love about this season that we haven't touched on yet, and I'm sorry if I am talking too much, but is that we are actually getting a chance to look at people doing things other than Starfleet, that there are other ways to serve, and that there are other ways to serve Starfleet other than the traditional get on a starship, go sacrifice family, sacrifice these connections, sacrifice these relationships. And we've got Tilly, who is going to teach at Starfleet Academy because she likes it. It's not like Miles O'Brien, who was retiring from adventure and to make his wife happy, right? Like, I mean, that felt like a goodbye because it was. We've got Saru, who's going off to be a diplomat, and it's not treated as though it's a step down. It's just a different direction, because not only are we discussing how we make these connections, we're discussing what we want and how we find what we want, how we find that fulfillment. And it can be different. And I love that.
Well, I remember when I was watching Star Trek when I was in the middle school era, and I saw it as the next thing you did after you were an admiral was to become an ambassador, because like we kind of saw it with Spock, we saw it with others, and even in Picard in Future Imperfect, the one episode of TNG. So it was. I kind of expected that you would see it going, but it worked so well with Saru, and I'm so thankful that we got a Saru storyline in this episode, because it would have been really easy for him to just be gone, and then we check in with him like in 3 weeks and get an update on things. But no, he is a main character on this show, and he's staying with us. It's not like what happened last season where Tilly left, and then we didn't see Tilly again until the final episode.
Right.
So we're staying with Saru, which I am so
Maybe
happy.
It's important to the plot.
Yeah.
They tend to keep these guys around if they're important to the plot.
And I must say that the timing of the engagement announcement is definitely very important, considering like my wedding announcement was published in my local newspaper on April 1st, and then you know what happened to that marriage. So,
oh god,
damn.
I know. I'm just thinking, like, so many breakups, right? Yeah. So many breakups, and like just this very sort of matter of fact observation by Jet Reno that everything has a half-life.
Yeah.
That things die. But I mean, we knew that was coming because Adira had already made the comment that they were surprisingly happy on Discovery without Gray.
Yeah.
I think this whole idea of Gray really rubs me the wrong way. I think maybe Picard a little bit, because where are we? Have we solved death at this point in Star Trek? I'm trying to figure out technologically. I mean, they seem to like they did it in Picard, and now they did it with Gray. It just seems like, okay, now it's just something they can do as long as you got a brain. What are the exceptions? Like, what is preventing them to do this?
I mean, it comes back. You know what? Honestly, and Marie made this point. The Gentara, the sharing of the consciousness, again with Colburn and stuff like that. These intimations, right, of shared consciousness, what is life and stuff like that. Even the end of Picard, or with Data and stuff like. There's always got to be a Brent Spiner sort of pullback to things and stuff like that, because we, the viewer, don't want them to go. We want them to stay in our view. We want to keep consuming them. And so we keep bringing back our best hits, even though it may not always be conducive to the plot. So, I mean, they're plot armor. Is that the word? I think you used that once, Marie.
Yeah, plot armor. Like, for example, we know that we know nothing's going to happen to Chapel because she doesn't die.
I got scared for Chapel recently. Rewatching those.
You and I are going to have a conversation about how you see me and Chapel, because she makes some choices that I don't like.
She's wild. She's wild.
Oh no, she could die. They could just give her a new body, because that's what they do now.
They've done it to 2 people, and one of them was on a planet of androids. But the other was they did a sort of Gentara last season, transferring Gray's consciousness from Adira to the synth body,
the new construct.
Yeah. So it's not like anybody can just be brought back to life, unless, of course, you believe that the transporter has. Yeah, everyone.
Well, there's that, of course.
Yeah.
Right, that is a whole conversation.
Oimler has a Riker twin, and then they died in Lower Decks. I just recently saw the Lower Decks thing, but then they made him join Section 31. This is like a fake death thing or whatever. It's like an evil Oimler now.
Yeah, so that was season 3, so that hasn't paid off yet.
There's a whole lot of brewing stuff like that across this. When you're watching like Lower Decks and stuff, and yes, they make light of a lot of these Star Trek things. They do a lot of convenient TNG throwbacks to these sort of like old plots that are like paying homage to these things, and then they commodify. Yeah. So they do. I mean, there's just not enough time and space in these episodes. We don't have 22 episode seasons anymore. I mean, this is the biggest problem I have with all of Star Trek right now. People want to talk about new Trek or whatever I read about. I love all of Star Trek, but the biggest issue I have across all of them is this this nonsense of 10 episode arcs. It just doesn't. It's not conducive.
Well, there's
how
only
we actually consume it.
There's only one Star Trek that's allowed to have more than 10 episodes right now, and that's Prodigy, because it had 20 episodes in season 1. But they've broken up so much that it seemed like it might as well just been 2 seasons. So
right, because my kids and I just watched that, like boom, 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 and it was crazy to do that that way, because I remember very much feeling like it was 2 seasons and then having to remind myself that no, season 2 is in fact coming. We don't know when.
Right.
We are all very, very jealous of our French compatriots.
Well, it's there. You can watch it in French if you want.
I know.
But Manny, that's a lot of television is that way now. It's not just this is not a Trek thing. That's
because I
the way
have to
television
admit, like I was
is
really
going.
bummed when the first 2 episodes dropped, because I'm like, we're a fifth of the way through the season now, like
Yeah.
what? Or whatever the fraction is. I'm not good at math. We know. And I was just like, that feels like, I mean, if even today it was weird to make the observation that we were on episode 3,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, that is too close to the mid-season mark, y'all.
Yeah.
It's like somebody gave you like extra cookies. Like, here's some extra treats. Oh, by the way, you're gonna be out of treats soon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We told you how much you have left.
Absolutely. And again, I'm just really, really sad, really, really grieving that we're going to be saying goodbye to Discovery, because
Hope we
I
don't.
love these thematic arcs that we're doing, right? Because they have finally figured out how to do it. We finally figured out how to play with all of these different moving parts, and we're giving everybody the type of time they need to develop. Like, did anybody else really love the conversation that Jet had with Stamets, which like, hey, space dad,
Yeah.
pay attention to your space children.
I love every scene with her, by the way.
I know. That she is so busy like causes me real grief.
Yeah, that was another thing people were complaining in reviews, that, oh, they forgot Jet Reno exists. No, Tig Notaro is freaking busy. She's on 5 different shows and ruling the world, or at least some small country in East Asia. So,
I mean, it's right. It's the same reason we're not getting a Section 31 show. We're getting a Section 31 movie, because Michelle Yeoh is incredibly busy. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm ecstatic for Michelle Yeoh, but I'm also grieving because I would have liked to have seen what we were going to do with Section 31. The Black Leather Ensemble has nothing to do with that.
of course, Marie.
Speaking of what Star Trek is going to do, Keith, do you have any news for us?
Well, we got there was news breaking today. And if you've been checking out Trek Briefs that launched this past week, we had news last week that there's not 1 but 2 movies that are now coming. We're still conceivably getting Star Trek 4. There's now, I think, like the 5th writing team has been assigned to it. But there's also a Star
I'll believe that when I am in the theater having bought the ticket.
Yeah, there's also the Star Trek origin story is what they're calling it. And hold on, let me get the writing crew on this. But so it was let out today that they're now planning for this to come out in 2025. Now, we've seen this before, because Star Trek 4 was supposed to come out in late 2023, but yet they had not yet signed any of the actors, and they didn't have a script, but they had a director, and then the director quit. Okay, so this movie that they're now saying will come out in 2025, with Star Trek 4, the sequel to Beyond, coming out in 2026. Directed by Toby Haynes, who directed episodes of Andor and the Black Mirror episode USS Callister, which is the Star Trek spinoff. And it's written screenplay by Seth Grahame-Smith, author of the Lego Batman movie, but also Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. And with J.J. Abrams returning as producer, and they list it as Untitled Star Trek Origin Story. Now, the fact that it's being produced by Abrams makes me wonder, is it going to still be in the Kelvin timeline? And is it going to be picking up a story? Yeah, we're not sure where it is in this timeline. We basically know nothing about it other than them saying Star Trek Origin movie coming in 2025. But no cast have been signed. There is a script supposedly. But yeah, we know nothing more than that.
All right, I'll see y'all when I act in that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, if you act in that movie, I'm sending you with pictures, and I expect you to bring back autographs. I don't care how you have to get them. That is on you.
I'll yeah.
You have your homework.
I do.
Keith, anything else?
I think, well, let's see. The other breaking thing is I don't know if you guys are aware, but the Japanese Prime Minister is in Washington D.C. at the moment. There was a state dinner at the White House tonight, in which it's expected that the visiting makes a toast, the dignitary. So he gave a speech in which he concluded, "We are now standing at a turning point in history, embarking on a new frontier, and elevate the unshakable Japan-U.S. relationship to even greater heights and hand it to the next generation. Finally, let me conclude with a line from Star Trek, which you all know, to boldly go where no one has gone before."
Now that's a send-off.
And then he raised his glass to toast. "Mr. President, Dr. Biden, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to propose a toast to our voyage to the frontier of the Japan-U.S. relationship with this word, boldly go."
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Love it. I have to admit, I really wasn't sure how you were going to get to the Star Trek part. I really wasn't. I was just like, okay.
What?
Okay.
Well, like last week when I had the news story about how Star Trek was connected to Sweden joining NATO.
What?
You're behind the times, Marie. Okay.
I know. I'm the worst.
Okay, so at the ceremony where Sweden officially joined NATO, the military alliance, last week as a 32nd member, they had an orchestra playing music during the setup, and the orchestra was basically given the rights, told just play whatever you have, and it was raining, so it was delayed. So they started playing the opening theme to Star Trek First Contact.
Really?
So they did the whole opening line. So you have video of these two military officers holding the Swedish flag, waiting to raise it up the pole with the First Contact theme playing. And of course, everyone made the connection. Is this because Lily said Borg sounds Swedish?
That's funny.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just saying I would expect to buy that in an IKEA. Just saying.
Yeah.
Borg or a chair.
Well, everyone, we're just over the 1 hour mark. Thank you all so very much for watching us. Until next week, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Have a good one.
Wait, Jason, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you being right now? I gotta know.
I'm serious, dude. You got
like 10 out of 10 serious, or picking on Michael serious? Which one?
There is no temperature in space. It's not cold.
What are you serious?
Okay, wait.
Who is this? Oh dear God! It just got better.
Because you said his name.
Welcome to the party, Michael.
No, that is not how we're going to end the episode, because Keith actually has like a legitimate news update. He knows shit, and we should possibly like convey that knowledge.
That's my favorite line. He knows shit.
It's just like a black and red mound. It's like.
Why are you describing yourself?
What the hell?
Hello from man.
Hey, Virgil.
Hey, Virgil.
Welcome.
Hello, Virgil. Welcome. Who are you?
Who?